Hi guys, welcome back to the shed. Today I've got a new series for you, DIY Simplified. This series is basically simplifying DIY tasks and tools mainly to bring beginners into woodworking and get them started with their first tools, how to use them and some tips and tricks on how to use them effectively. Currently, today is December 1st. I have a code from Lumberjack Tools who have been kind enough to work with me on this series and other stuff. And bring you a code for a 5% discount from December 1st for 3 months on their entire website. So it's 5%. Use this code that I put up on the screen. You'll get 5% off. Get yourself some tools for the next 3 months. You deserve it. It's been a hard year. Get yourself some DIY gear. Start doing those projects that you want to do with Lumberjack Tools. The first video in this series of DIY Simplified is the 5 tools every beginner woodworker should get. Tool number 1. The first tool I think beginner woodworkers should get is a set of drills. So you can buy drills just on their own. A drill is for screwing and drilling. Its main priority is drilling with drill bits, but it will screw things in as well, and it's got the different torque settings and speeds. But an impact driver is more efficient and more effective at drilling in screws because of its ratcheting feature, and that stops you stripping screws and it torques the screw in that last little bit. They usually come as a set, so you will buy an impact driver and a drill, and I recommend, if you can do that, I would do that. And make sure that you get the same battery. So I've got a 10.8 volt and a 14.4 volt, so I cannot change these batteries over, and that was my big mistake, because if this runs out I cannot use this battery and I have to wait for it to charge. I would also recommend, if you do buy a set, buy a third battery if you can afford it, and then you can leave it on charge in your shop or wherever you are, and then if one runs out you don't necessarily have to swap it, you just put the new battery in and then the other one on charge. That's the best way to do it. They're really cheap and affordable at the moment. You know, I think Bosch do a set for £120. I know these cost about 120 quid. Brand's not really that big a deal. Lumberjack Tools have a set actually with a really good set of batteries. I would pick them up with the 5% discount code, again, right here, so and then get yourself going. The second tool is a jigsaw. So a jigsaw, as you can see, uses this blade. It pushes it in and out and cuts through the wood. These are mainly used for cutting curves, so people use them for cutting in and stuff like that, mainly curves. But I have cut straight lines with a jigsaw. If you've got a steady hand or a straight edge clamped down on your workpiece, it will cut straight lines, and that is why I recommend this first over a circular saw, because you can cut straight lines with a jigsaw. You cannot cut curve, well, you could cut curves with a circular saw. It's incredibly hard and it's a little bit dangerous. So pick one of these up first. They're super cheap. I mean, you can pick a jigsaw up in B&Q for like 30 quid. Just make sure when you do it, if I can get this blade out, it doesn't want to come out. They have T-shank blades. I don't know whether you can see that, but it's this little T-shape and it's a standardised blade. So if you buy a jigsaw with this blade, you can buy blades of any brand, any size, any material cutter, and it will fit your jigsaw. So that's the main thing really, is they're pretty all the same on the market. As long as you've got the T-shank blade, you're good to go. The third tool I recommend getting is a decent set of clamps. Every beginner needs a set of clamps when you're jigsawing or drilling. It helps to hold your piece of wood down. So there are many types of clamps. It's pretty much what suits you for your job and what you're going to be doing the most. So you get F clamps, quick clamps, C or G clamps, depending on what you call them. I personally prefer these quick clamps. These are really good for beginners and in general. They just work on this little sliding rail, and you pull this trigger and it just slowly moves along the little bar, clamping down on your bit of wood, and they're really easy to use one-handed. These F clamps are also a really cheap alternative. They're probably 4 or 5 quid for one of these. It just slides along the rail and you tighten it up, but I do find this needs 2 hands. So good if you're just setting up, but they can be a bit clunky. And your C clamps are usually just for little pieces, you know, just sticking 2 bits together and you just turn in and it shortens the gap. The fourth tool I recommend any beginner getting is a sander. So they're pretty much essential to finishing your projects. Smoothing over surfaces, sides and corners will make your finish 100 times better when you're painting or putting an oil on or something like that. It's an essential. So you can get mouth sanders, they're for little bits. I like orbital sanders. So this one's powered by air because I have an air compressor and this was really cheap. But I would recommend getting an electric one because most people don't have a compressor. This is a random orbital sander. So this works by spinning round, but it's also got a slight oscillating feature. And that just stops circular scratches in your wood and really smooths it out. So if you can get one of these, not the air powered, I would go for an electric one. They are fairly cheap. McAllister do a really good one. Lumberjack Tools, I'm pretty sure, what's the other brand, like B&Q Power Performance do one, and they are, you know, 30 to 40 quid, and they are really good to have around. So the fifth and final tool I would recommend every beginner get, this one not so essential, but it is really good to have when cutting square lumber down, is the miter saw. They come in two variants. So the smaller ones will be compound miter saws where they just go down. There is no sliding feature. This is a sliding miter saw, so it comes out on these rails and increases cut capacity. They will do miters where it changes, it will do bevels, and that allows you to do compound cuts. But when using things like 4x2s and 6x1s and 1x1s and 2x1s, cutting those timber down is much easier to get a straight cut. You can do it by hand, but this fence will keep it exactly parallel as long as the board is straight. So I do recommend getting one of these if you can afford it. I think this one was £90. There are so many brands out there. You don't need a massive huge one. A 10-inch miter saw will do most people fine. Again, compound will more than likely be absolutely fine for your first projects. And if you need the cut capacity and you think you'll be doing projects, they're not that much more expensive to buy a sliding miter saw. It'd be the difference of maybe 30-40 quid. So last and final tool, I would recommend getting the others first because they will do what you want this to do, like the jigsaw and the circular saw will cut that sort of timber, but these are really good to have to do repeated accurate cuts. That's it for today's video, guys. It's the first episode in DIY Simplified, my new series. There will be more to come. If you've got any questions about the stuff I showed in today's video, whether you're looking to buy tools or whether you've got tools and you've got problems with them, leave them in the comments down below and I'll try and answer. Just a reminder, the same as the start of the video, I'm currently working with Lumberjack Tools to bring you this code, which will give you 5% off at lumberjacktools.co.uk. You deserve some tools, start that project that you've been putting off and get going. Thanks for watching today's video, guys. Subscribe, comment and like, it really helps us out, and I'll see you for the next video.